Welcome to the LOJ Conversions YouTube channel. I'm Steven.
I'm Blaine, and this is my 2006 Nissan Frontier.
So hey guys, it's Steven from LOJ Conversions here, back with you again, and today we've got my shop manager Blaine's truck, and we're going to give you a little build breakdown on what he built for himself out of this 2007 Nissan Frontier. Blaine built this truck entirely himself in his garage, not even in our shop, and if you saw the garage that he was working out of, it's amazing what this guy can accomplish. He's really been a blessing to the business, and I'm proud to have him on the team. Like I said, his truck's a 2007 Nissan Frontier. It started life as a four-wheel drive manual transmission V6 truck, and over the last, how many months? 10 months, it went from essentially a stock truck to what you see here. So why don't you tell us about the wheel and tire setup you've got on it?
The wheels and tires are 19 by 11 Forge Star CF5Vs, actually intended for a Dodge Viper, oddly enough. They're the same lug pattern as a Frontier. The tires are 325/30/19 Yokohamas.
It's a pretty standard setup that we run on the trucks we build, because Forge Star is one of the few companies that makes an actual affordable wheel for a Dodge Viper. And since the Frontiers share the same lug pattern, we're able to run Viper wheels on all of these trucks with a 1-inch bolt-on spacer and a hub-centric ring that takes care of the hub bore diameter difference. We haven't tried the 19 by 13s on anything yet. That might come someday, but you know, for now, we've been running the 11s on a lot of the trucks we build, and yeah, they fit great. Suspension-wise, we have some kind of prototype stuff going on with this truck. It's obviously lowered on LOJ's coilovers and the axle flip kit in the rear, but we took things a step further on this truck. I designed and built our first set of drop spindles for the front end of this truck to get an extra 2 inches of drop on top of what the coilovers offer you. And then Blaine fabricated himself a C-notch kit for the rear frame to drop the rear further. So instead of using our lift shackles that you would normally use with the axle flip kit, he actually ran the stock shackles to get it. This is basically as low as you can go.
I mean, I would not go lower than this on one of these trucks, just with frame clearance wise.
Yeah, we basically pushed it as low as you can go without a custom chassis, because there's a lot of clearance stuff that we're basically on the razor's edge for basically safe geometry and all. I think the drive shaft clearance actually to the floor of the cab is pretty tight on full compression. So we basically went as low as you can safely go without going wild, and I think the stance came out awesome. The brake setup, we're running 370Z Akebono front brakes. Interestingly enough, the calipers bolt right to the factory Frontier spindles, and the rotors are DBA, Disc Brakes Australia, 370Z rotor rings, and they're a two-piece setup, and we made custom hats to get the offset and bolt pattern right for the Frontier. And then the rear is the stock Frontier brakes. And what pads are on it?
G-Lock R12s in the front, and I think R8s in the rear.
Okay, that's right. We went with a less aggressive compound in the rear because of how light the truck is in the rear. It's got the stock ABS on it still, so you know, it's nothing too crazy there.
It is a 6.2 liter LS, fairly stock other than a Texas Speed F35 cam, fast LSX RT intake manifold, Granatelli 102 throttle body, Cooks 1 7/8 headers.
So I think this motor started in life in the Escalade. It was the 6.2 truck motor.
It was an L94.
Right. It's still all aluminum. It's just like an LS3, but the pistons have valve release for VVT. But you deleted the VVT and the DOD in this one, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So the heads did come off to delete the DOD, but like the motor hasn't been apart. And it's a pretty standard combo we run in a lot of stuff because it's affordable. You know, the L92s aren't really that expensive anymore, and to put a cam in it, you're making probably 450 to 500 wheel pretty easily on a manual trans setup with that. So the transmission, we're running LOJ's Frontier transmission adapter, and it has a Frontier 6-speed manual in it. But because the truck was 4-wheel drive, you switched it to a 2-wheel drive transmission.
Correct. We put a 2-wheel drive transmission in it.
Right, right. And then it's a one-piece aluminum drive shaft, And you did some work to the rear in it, I believe?
It is still the stock Nissan M226 axle, which is basically Nissan's version of a Dana 44.
That's right,
which is the same rear axle that's found in like the Nissan Frontiers. I got a different gear set that matches better with how small the tires and wheels are on the truck, and actually ran a Yukon limited slip for a Titan in this. And then a Titan factory diff cover, which came stock with aluminum heat sinks on it, where the Frontiers just had a stamped steel diff cover. So other than that, that's really all it's done to the rear diff, and it works very well with the setup. So.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of this was like budget, the best we can do without going too over the top and crazy. Blaine spent the smart money where the smart money needed to be spent and saved money where he could, doing a lot of stuff himself. There's hours and hours of fabrication in this truck, which Blaine, knocked out of the park with a lot of stuff that we'll talk to, I'm sure, as we get through this. Exhaust is the LOJ swap headers for Frontier, and then you did everything custom from there back.
It's 3-inch with 2 resonators back to a dual-in, dual-out vibrant muffler.
Okay.
Which then tapers down to a single 3.5-inch pipe and exits out the bedside.
Nice.
Because I wanted something different.
I mean, I love it. The placement and everything worked out great. Ground clearance wise, it all works out. I mean, and the sound is really, it's probably one of the best sounding vehicles that we've ever built.
A little loud, but
that's the point. So, engine management, we ran a Haltech Nexus R3 on this, which is their most modern ECU platform that has a PDM built in. And we use the PDM for powering injectors, coils, things like that, so you don't have a separate fuse box for powering that stuff. And it also has full CAN bus integration. Oddly enough, Frontiers of this generation speak the same CAN as a 350Z, so you can select 350Z on the Haltech list of compatible vehicles, and then all of a sudden your gauges and your air conditioning and all still work like they would stock. So the truck still has AC, full interior. Like, this is very much a street truck, not a race truck. You're going to drive it on track, obviously, but it wasn't built for racing. So
it still has cruise control, air conditioning, factory gauges, still very manageable on the street.
Offer our transmission adapter standard with a steel flywheel because most guys are building street trucks, but we do have an option. You can special order an aluminum flywheel, which we've done on more race-oriented builds, but this still has the steel flywheel for good inertia, good drivability, and all that kind of stuff. Like, the focus really was to be just a badass street truck, not a crazy race truck. So
interior was completely gutted in the back, just in the extended cab part of the truck. Just did like a quick little roll bar, nothing crazy. Not going to pass any type of tech or anything with it, but it makes me feel a little bit better when I'm putting it on a track when I have something over my head.
Yep.
Gave me a point to put my harnesses. The seats are Sparco Evo L's. Okay. So they're the large version of the seats. A little bit more comfortable than being completely crammed in.
Yeah, they're more like a street sport focused one-piece race seat, and they come in 4 different sizes. I think there's Evo S, M, L, and XL, and you can figure out what that means on the sizes. I personally need an XL. I struggle to fit in his truck a little bit, but it's perfect size for him. So
I was a little bit heavier when I got the L's. I lost a little bit.
Yeah, you could probably fit in the M's now if you really wanted, but
it's fine. I'm comfortable. Yeah. It's got a Sparco steering wheel, NRG quick release. Everything on the interior was completely removed, and it used to have a gray interior. Now pretty much every ounce of it is black suede.
Yeah, basically wrapped the door panels, the dash, the headliner, the A-pillars, you name it, it's all suede wrapped down. It really, I mean, Frontiers never came with black interior, so to see one all black is really, it's pretty sweet. And
gives it a little bit more of a sport truck feel, having it all suede in there.
Yeah.
And then found a company that made a gauge pod for on top of the center of the dash, so it has the 2 Haltech CAN gauges in there, just so I can monitor some stuff that the stock dash doesn't do.
Yeah, they're cool because since they're CAN, you can basically scroll on a menu and see anything that the Haltech sees that the vehicle is doing, you can display on those gauges. So it's pretty sweet. When you do come to an event and you want to go out on a racetrack, like, you can monitor actual oil pressure, actual coolant temp, not what the dummy gauges tell you. So it's a pretty nice feature there.
This is Tiny Bot Dragon Scale Red.
Okay.
It is completely a wrap. The truck was very haggard. Entire body of the truck has 250,000 miles.
Yeah, it was.
And someone used it as like an old farm truck, I assume, at some point, judging by the amount of dust and dirt and dog hair that was in the interior and how much work it took to get it to this point.
I remember when you pulled the carpet out and were power washing the carpet in your driveway because it was so filthy.
I power washed that carpet about 6 times. And no one remakes carpet for those, which...
No, they don't. And you dyed it black, right?
Yeah, I dyed it.
Yeah. And then the bed, you bed linered the inside and the underside of the bed.
Correct.
And the tailgate is, I always forget about that tailgate until I'm behind you and realize how great it looks.
Yeah, I bed linered inside the wheel wells. Obviously, with how low the truck is, I can't run the plastic liners in the front anymore. So all the wheel wells are completely bed linered, just so they have a little bit of protection from rocks deflecting up off the tires, stuff like that. I have never seen a second-gen Frontier with a shaved tailgate handle, and I wanted to do something completely different, so I shaved the tailgate handle. And oddly enough, the handle that is relocated to the inside of the bed is actually off of a OBS Chevy. I had a OBS Chevy tailgate sitting in my yard for whatever reason, and I cut a hole in the tailgate and took the handle, welded it into the backside of this tailgate, and the mechanisms pulled the correct way. So I hooked the latches up and everything worked. So I welded in a plate and made a smooth tailgate.
And for those that might not know, the normal handle on a Frontier tailgate, it's not like an OBS that's just got the rectangular handle in the middle of the sheet metal. There's a whole plastic inlay in the tailgate, so like you had to fabricate a lot of sheet metal to actually delete all of that and make that aesthetically look right. And
it's a very big delete plate. And I will not do another. It was a horrible process.
Yeah, it was a lot of work for sure. So the Frontiers they made them forever. They were made from 05 until 2021. The same truck basically, but in 09, I believe.
09, yeah.
They refreshed the front end, changed the front bumper, the grille, and the headlights. It's a subtle difference, but I personally like the refreshed front end a lot better than the original. So you put all those parts on the truck too.
Yeah, the refreshed front end, the grille just kind of dives a little bit deeper. The one-piece front bumper just has better lines to it. And honestly, the number one deciding factor was they actually make nice aftermarket headlights for the newer body style.
Right. We missed a couple things on the swap I'll jump back into too, just to make sure we cover it. But the fuel system is essentially as simple as it gets. LOJ, we sell a modified factory sending unit that drops right into the stock tank. The factory Nissan fuel sending unit runs 51 PSI of fuel pressure, and it's a pretty low flow rate fuel pump because the motors factory don't make a ton of power. So we make a new sending unit. We basically buy factory new sending units and we modify them. We put a different regulator in them that ups it to 58 PSI, which is what an LS would typically see in a GM application. Then we put a high flow fuel pump in them, and it basically allows the truck to run as if it was a factory LS sending unit. They support about 500 horsepower. It's not made for crazy high builds, but it's an easy install because it drops right into the stock tank. And that's what's in this. It's nothing wild, factory fuel tank. And then you did run billet fuel rails and AN hoses under the hood. You did a lot of stuff under the hood, like to dress things up. You polished your air conditioning lines, man. I mean, it's like it's beyond what I would even do in a car for myself, but Blaine's got a real eye for detail, which we love having him in the shop working on customer cars because that translates into everything we do. And even the radiator is LOJ's race radiator for a Frontier. Yeah. So you can actually run the factory Frontier radiators. They're the same radiator that's in a Nissan Titan, and it's got plenty of cooling capacity for a street truck. But when you're out on track, we do make an upgraded race radiator that is manufactured for us by C&R Racing. It drops in and has a large single 18-inch spow fan. It's actually the same fan from like a 6th gen.
It's a 6th gen ZL1 fan. It's
ZL1 Camaro fan.
It's an 8,000 CFM.
Yeah, it's crazy flow rate.
Future plans will be going to do like a mild front splitter for it, a little bit of a tailgate spoiler eventually, just some little aero stuff to get it a little bit more planted to the ground, some stickier tires.
We were talking about as well, and people watching this video, you might blow up our inbox over this. I don't know, but we've been contemplating trying to develop a bolt-in 3-link kit for the factory axle in these trucks.
I wasn't going to tell anyone about that, but here we go.
Well, it's still on leaf springs, and you know, you can get a little lower with the 3-link. Obviously, it'll handle better with the 3-link and things like that, but it's not as easy as you might think to make a bolt-in kit, and we're gonna play around and see what we can do. No promises that it'll happen. Just like the drop spindles, these are a prototype. Blaine's gonna thrash the truck, see how well they survive. If they do well, we may go to production with them. There's no promises there, although people are already blowing up our inbox about those, so it'll probably happen.
Yeah.
But you know, it's an interesting thing, right? Because like the trucks themselves are cheap and plentiful, but not a lot of guys modify them. So when we make parts for them, you know, we might make 10 of an item, and that inventory will last 2 years because there's not a lot of guys doing this stuff. So when you start talking economies of scale, it's hard to make custom parts cheap when you make small batches. And I think a lot of our customers appreciate that because they understand, you know, it's hard to make these things. We still have to make money. As much as I love building trucks, I can't do stuff for free for everybody forever. So
yeah, I think my overall favorite part about the truck is just the overall appearance of it afterwards. Like the way everything kind of wraps together, like the color of the wheels contrasting on the color of the wrap, the stance of it right now, like it's one of those things right now that if I park it in a parking lot, I can't turn around and not look at it if I'm walking into a store. Like, it's still kind of surreal that it's done. I mean, I drove it for the first time, 6 days ago?
Yeah.
So it's still kind of surreal that it's done right now, and it's been a long 10 months to get it to where it is.
Yeah, and it's not like SEMA done, it's actually like drivable. So they're taking it out on track tomorrow. So it's
a functional truck that has been wide open throttle launched a couple times already to make sure the rear diff doesn't fall out of it. I've already beat on it a couple times. I'm pretty sure our neighbors aren't too happy about it, but you know.
Well, if I had to pick out a favorite part of the build, for me it would be the side pipe coming out the side of the bed. That's you know, it's a sick touch. I like that. And even the way like he inlaid the LOJ logo under the wrap so that it looks embossed on the side of the truck. Like, that's subtle things that, you know, you might not necessarily pick up on, but guys who look at cars and have an eye for detail will see stuff like that. So
yeah,
thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like, subscribe. More content coming at you soon.